He served 4 tours. He commanded troops overseas. He sat in strategy rooms with the president. But on a quiet highway in Georgia, a black U.S. Army general was pulled over, handcuffed, and humiliated by a local cop who never asked for ID, only saw his skin. But that cop didn't realize who he had just arrested. One phone call changed everything. And the fallout? It reached all the way to the Pentagon. It was a sunny Thursday afternoon. Lieutenant General Anthony Wallace, age 52, was driving to Fort Benning after a closed-door security briefing at a nearby intelligence base. He wasn't in uniform. He wasn't in a motorcade, just a black man in a rental SUV, taking the back roads like he always did. He liked peace, quiet, but the flashing blue lights behind him, that shattered both. Deputy Ryan Cole, 34, had been on the force for 11 years. He saw the dark SUV pass him, tinted windows out of county plates. He flipped the lights, pulled the vehicle over. Before the general could roll down the window, the deputy barked, "License and registration. Step out of the vehicle. Now." Anthony remained calm. "Officer, may I ask the reason for the stop?" Cole didn't answer. He unholstered his weapon. "Out. Hands where I can see them." Anthony tried to explain. He mentioned he was a high-ranking officer. He opened his wallet to show his military ID. But the deputy wasn't interested. "That don't look like a driver's license to me," he said. "Fake government badges don't impress me." Anthony was handcuffed, pushed against the hood of his own vehicle. A general in the United States Army, treated like a threat, all because a deputy saw a black man and assumed the worst. At the station, Anthony remained silent. He gave his real name, his rank. Still, no one ran his ID. Instead, they took his fingerprint and began booking him for obstruction, failure to comply, and impersonating an officer. He asked for his one phone call. The sergeant on duty smirked. "Sure, make it quick." Anthony didn't call a lawyer. He didn't call family. He dialed a secure number in Washington, D.C. 10 seconds in, the voice on the other end said, "Understood, sir. We're on it." 7 minutes later, the county station's landline rang. "This is Brigadier General Harper, U.S. Army Legal Command." The desk sergeant froze. "You're holding Lieutenant General Anthony Wallace, 3-star general, Joint Chiefs Advisory Board member, and recipient of the Defense Distinguished Service Medal." The room went silent. The deputy who arrested him turned pale. "Release him. Now. And prepare for an official inquiry, starting with your body cam footage." Deputy Cole walked back into the room, stunned. Anthony stood calmly in his cell, still handcuffed. "Sir, I didn't know." The general looked him in the eye. "You didn't ask." The Pentagon demanded the footage. It showed Cole yelling, drawing his weapon, mocking Anthony's ID, ignoring protocol. It went viral. "Racist deputy arrests 3-star general" was a headline on every news site the next morning. The nation watched in disbelief. People didn't know what to be more outraged by: the disrespect, the assumption, or the quiet way Anthony had endured it all. Within 24 hours, Deputy Cole was suspended without pay. The sheriff issued a formal apology. Protests formed outside the station, and the Department of Justice opened a civil rights investigation. But Anthony, he said nothing publicly, until the Army asked him to address the media. In full dress uniform, General Wallace stepped to the podium. He didn't speak with anger. He didn't rant. He simply said, "What happened to me isn't about rank. It's about recognition. How quickly we forget the value of human dignity when it's wrapped in skin some people fear." A reporter asked, "What would you say to the officer who arrested you?" He paused. "I'd tell him that I served so that he could do his job safely. I just wish he'd seen the soldier, not just the color." Defense officials quietly reached out to the Department of Justice. The Army launched a national initiative on racial bias training, starting with military-adjacent law enforcement. General Wallace was asked to lead it. He accepted on one condition: every department that touches veterans must learn how to treat them like humans first. 3 months later, Deputy Cole was officially terminated. His statement: "I made assumptions. I let fear override protocol. And I forgot that power doesn't always wear a badge. Sometimes it wears scars. For weeks, the story stayed in the headlines. Talk shows, panels, podcasts. The questions echoed everywhere. Would he have been arrested if he were white? How many others weren't generals and had no one to call? What if there had been no footage? General Wallace didn't want fame. He wanted change. Today, General Wallace heads a program called Uniform or Not, helping veterans who face discrimination, police profiling, or legal injustice. He travels to police academies, visits courtrooms, speaks to new cadets, and reminds them the uniform doesn't make the hero. Seeing humanity does. 1 year later, General Wallace returned to that small Georgia town, not for revenge, but to speak at a community policing seminar held in the same county that once held him in a cell. When asked why he came back, he said, "Because nothing changes if we walk away." He could have demanded punishment. He could have sued. He could have vanished in silence. Instead, he chose purpose over pride. One call to the Pentagon may have freed him, but his message freed many more.